It's day 2 of Grotmas, and today's present includes a Dark Angels detachment that is all about the union of Deathwing and Ravenwing forces. Welcome to the Grotmas Detachment Show, where each and every day from December 1st to the 24th, Games Workshop releases a new detachment for every army in Warhammer 40k. It's an exciting time, and there's a lot to talk about. So let's break it down for you and give you an easy to understand first look at these detachments. Happy Grotmas, everybody! Diving on in, this is the Lion's Blade Task Force, which is of course a classic melding of Deathwing, which is more elite and Terminator and Dreadnought units, as well as Ravenwing, which is your classic fast jet bike style units. The detachment rule is called In the Lion's Claws, and it gives 2 benefits. If you are a Ravenwing unit and you're in engagement range of an enemy, they must take a Desperate Escape test to fall back, and if they're battle shocked, they'll suffer an additional -1. Now, unfortunately, this does not apply to monsters and vehicles, which is a bit of a shame in my mind. The second rule is for Deathwing units, and they'll gain a +2 to charge rolls when targeting enemy units in engagement range of Ravenwing units. This is a much more interesting option as it allows our scouting Ravenwing units to get in there, tag things up, and help the slow Deathwing Terminators deliver themselves to combat. Pretty sweet. Let's take a look at the enhancements. As always, there are 4 of them. The first one is Calibanite Armaments. At 15 points, this gives +1 damage to melee weapons for the bear. Very, very tasty options as we have a number of great melee characters available in the Space Marines Codex. Next up, we have Lord of the Hunt for 15 points as well. This is for a Ravenwing model, and we're following the new trend it looks like in these detachments, where these abilities affect largely the entire unit. This Ravenwing model's unit can fall back, shoot, and charge, as well as having the ability to reroll Desperate Escape tests for their unit. Pretty sweet, although at the end of the day you have to think about what are you actually attaching this to. It's probably going to be Outriders or Blackwing Knights. Stalwart Champion is a 25-point enhancement. This is available to captains, chaplains, or lieutenants, and gives their unit +1 OC while they're not battle shocked. Honestly, it's not terrible. I wish it was a little bit cheaper, but OC is OC is OC. Finally, we have Fulgus Magna for 20 points. This allows a Deathwing model's unit the ability to up Downy once per game at the end of the opponent's turn. Very, very powerful ability. Of course, if you're putting this on a Terminator unit, they'll gain access to Deep Strike when they come back in. And as we mentioned, they are slow. We don't have advance and charge in this detachment, so once per game being able to redeploy is going to be very, very powerful. I'm sure you've been seeing lots of sweet deals around the interwebs, so let me make a proposition for you. If you buy a set of Titan's Terrain from our web store until December 3rd, you'll receive a massive 30% discount on any of our terrain sets and a 50% discount on our dice.
But that's heresy.
That's right, General Angry Space Marine-ish guy, it's heresy, but we don't care. With the enhancements in tow, let's take a look at the stratagems. Starting off with Overpowering Exaction, this 1 CP stratagem is triggered in the start of the command or fight phase. An enemy unit in engagement range takes a battle shock test, and it's going to be at an additional -1 if this unit is a Deathwing or Ravenwing unit. You can only do this once per round, so no popping it in the command and fight phase. Again, very situational. I like the -1 as that's going to really push some of those leadership modifiers, but we'll see how much this is used. This next stratagem is going to be used all the time. It is the classic Armor of Contempt for 1 CP. When one of your units is targeted in the shooting or fight phase, -1 to the AP of enemy units. Strength in Unity is another 1 command point cost stratagem. In the fight phase, when targeted, the unit gains either -1 to be hit if they're a Ravenwing, or -1 to be wounded if the attacking unit's strength is higher than the Deathwing unit's toughness. So pretty interesting, -1 to be hit, potentially -1 to be wounded. Just a great flexible stratagem for your army. Knights of Iron is a 1 CP ability that allows a Ravenwing unit in the movement or charge phase to go through terrain features as if they weren't there. This helps get around the fact that bikes are a pain to move, they've got big bases. Now do remember though that this does not let you move through enemy models, so still powerful, but keep that in mind. Illuminating Fire is a 1 CP stratagem. This is going to grant +1 to wound for Deathwing units targeting an enemy unit that was shot at within 12 inches of a Ravenwing unit. The Ravenwing unit essentially tags them up, granting +1 to wound. Honestly, I wish this lasted through the combat phase so you could have the Ravenwing units do their shooting, get the Deathwing units with their +1 to wound in melee, but it's just for shooting. So it's really for those Deathwing Terminators with the big bricks, or of course some of your key Dreadnoughts. Finally, we have a very strange stratagem, and maybe someone in the comment section can explain this one for me. Inescapable Wrath is a 2 CP stratagem that effectively looks like a second heroic intervention. At the end of your opponent's charge phase, you can select a Deathwing infantry or walker unit within 6 inches of an enemy unit. If they're eligible to charge, they can immediately make a charge roll, and of course you don't get your charge bonus. It reads identical to Heroic Intervention, other than the fact that it costs 2 CP and it's in the end of your opponent's charge phase. Whether this is worth being able to intervene with 2 units for 3 CP, I am not sure, or maybe I'm missing something. Let me know, of course, in the comments below. Overall, this is a pretty sweet detachment. I do really like them trying to lean on the combination of the 2 wings. I think the Deathwing units, as usual, get the bigger benefit here. +2 to charge is always an amazing ability. Some flexible options for Ravenwing, but at the end of the day, we have to think about what units we're taking with this. So I'm a little bit on the fence of this one. I do think it's going to be fun to play, and I think it definitely has potential. But hey, let me know in the comments below what you think, and what do you think is coming tomorrow?